Okay, here we go.
The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is on the way, bringing with it the graphical and technical upgrades you'd expect for a native PS5 release, including full DualSense support, alongside new lost levels and commentary, and new accessibility features, a new speedrun mode, and a guitar free play that includes new instruments too. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered features an entirely new survival mode, No Return, to get stuck into. We were recently invited to Sony's London HQ to go hands-on with this new roguelike mode, capture our gameplay, and chat to the game's director, Matthew Gallant, about its introduction to the game. Naturally, our first question about this new remaster was, why now, when the original game came out just 3 years ago? We asked Gallant. From our perspective, this is very similar to how the original Last of Us released at the tail end of the PlayStation 3, and then we were able to remaster it on the PlayStation 4 and just take advantage of that hardware, he replied. Part 2 came out at the tail end of the PlayStation 4 era. We were able to go back and boost certain art settings, offer better fidelity and performance options. We were able to tie into the DualSense haptics, which is a great way to have a great sense of immersion with the faster loading on the PS5. I think, ultimately, we wanted to give players the best way to play these games. If you're new to the franchise and you're playing the game now, we want to make sure players have the ability to play it on the modern hardware with all the best settings. For our hands-on preview, we didn't get to see any of the game's main campaign or its upgrades, but we did get to play No Return, the new game mode, extensively. It's been in development ever since work started on Part 2 Remastered in the fall of 2022. Gallant says it's always been envisioned as a roguelike, ever since the studio saw other creators do really fun things with the genre in the kind of roguelike renaissance that's been happening for the last few years. In No Return, the aim is to survive as long as you can in each new run, choosing your path and each new encounter through a series of randomised options featuring different enemy types and locations from The Last of Us Part 2's main campaign, culminating in a challenging, all-out boss battle. You begin each run in a hideout, where you can't do much to begin with save for selecting your first challenge. At first, there are just 2 characters to choose from, Ellie and Abby, and 2 types of challenge to undertake in each encounter, Hunted and Assault. Every character has a distinct loadout and unique traits. Ellie, for example, starts a run with the recipe for Molotov cocktails, and with 2 of her upgrade branches already unlocked, while Abby heals on melee kills and comes with a melee upgrade recipe. She's clearly much more geared towards up-close and personal combat, which makes perfect sense. Other characters are unlocked via challenges branching from their allied character. Dina is unlocked after winning 2 encounters with Ellie, for example. Lev is unlocked after completing 2 encounters with Abby. Yara is unlocked after completing 3 encounters with Lev, and so on. You return to your hideout after each encounter is completed, collecting rewards of upgrade tree unlocks, currency, supplements, and parts that you can then use to buy new items and recipes from the trading post, and upgrade your character and your loadout. You'll unlock 2 new game modes over time too, to add to Assault and Hunted, for a total of 4. Assault sees you face off against multiple waves of enemies who may or may not know your position initially, while in Hunted, you simply have to survive until the timer runs out. Holdout sees you trapped in a building with a buddy, and you have to protect them while waves of infected come at you. The final mode is Capture, and that's almost the opposite of Holdout. There are enemies holed up in a location protecting a safe, and there's a timer counting down for you to get the safe opened. There are 19 different maps in No Return, and 6 different boss encounters to work towards in your runs. The way the mode works is that you unlock them in order and you fight them in order, says Gallant. So you'll fight the arcade bloater until you beat them. And then the next fight is called Theater of Infestation, so it's a bunch of infected, including the stalker half of the Rat King, in the theater where Ellie and Abby fight. This is one of the fun things about this mode. We take enemies and locations and kind of mix them together. And then, once you've beaten all of those bosses in order, any subsequent run, it's going to give you a random boss. So that becomes another random element. We managed to make it to the first bloater boss once in our limited hands-on time, and it is definitely challenging. Seeing much more skilled players make their way through all 6 bosses in one run will be really impressive. Aside from the main objective of an encounter, there are also challenges, which work towards permanent unlocks like characters and character skins. It feels like most of these will unlock fairly naturally the more you play. Upgrading weapons a certain number of times during a run will grant new skins, for example, though a few might require a bit more effort to complete. The 4 encounter types, once unlocked, will show up on the hideout corkboard as you choose your path through a run, and variety is also introduced through modifiers. These can include increased or decreased enemy health, tripwire traps, long-shot damage bonuses, and movement speed boosts. But they can also introduce a little more chaos. Thick fog, enemies dropping bombs on their death or setting on fire after a melee kill, that sort of thing. The more challenges you complete, the more mod tiers you'll unlock. Unsurprisingly, the mods can completely change the game of an encounter, for better or worse. And they definitely help to keep runs fresh beyond just the 4 encounter types. There are also gambits to work towards, sort of mini-challenges that appear once per encounter. Galant says that these play into the main idea of no return, which is risk versus reward. Riskier gambits give greater rewards, including currency, ammo, and health. New gambits are unlocked by completing challenges. Some are fairly simple, like killing an enemy with a bomb or a Molotov, or dodging melee attacks a certain number of times. But they get more complex the more you progress through a run. This is where a run can quickly escalate or completely unravel, where you feel like you've been doing so well, and one little detour couldn't possibly hurt, right? And then of course you just get utterly overrun by infected in a matter of seconds. There's definitely an element of just one more run when this starts to happen to you. In a positive way, it is definitely quite Moorish when you start to get a bit of momentum going in No Return, as with most great roguelikes. And there is definitely a sense of escalation as you make your way through a run of No Return. And again, as with any good roguelike, no 2 runs feel the same. Some encounters might see you joined by an ally to fight by your side. Some might include dead drops, mailboxes where you can deposit a requested item, such as a first aid kit, to receive extra rewards upon your return to your hideout. And different characters really do feel distinctive. I struggled with Ellie at first, though that may also have something to do with just being rusty at the game, but had much better luck with Abby, and an even better time again with Lev, whose stealthy bow-based approach to combat I gelled particularly well with. It's just quite fun to take the rock-solid combat of The Last of Us Part 2 and fit it within the framework of a roguelike, where it works surprisingly well. Players much more familiar with the game may end up finding it repetitive before more casual folks. But as an optional extra, No Return works really well, and there is replayability there. Naughty Dog also confirmed to us that you can unlock character and gun skins for Ellie and Abby in No Return that you can then use in the main story. Skins for other characters are available, but they are No Return only, due to Ellie and Abby being the only playable characters in the main story. Prior to going hands-on with No Return for this preview, we hadn't played The Last of Us Part 2 in literal years. So obviously there were a couple of rough runs to get out of the way first before we really got into the swing of the mode. But honestly, it is a compliment to the mode's design that it never felt frustrating or badly designed. And after just a few restarts, that were completely on us, the player, we really got into that flow that you feel while playing a good roguelike. Feeling that high stakes, I'm one hit from a game over panic, and the excitement of starting a new run with all of the knowledge you gained in the previous attempt. We'll be interested to see the full game's bells and whistles too, for sure, but No Return was a promising first glimpse.
We got her! Over here!
Thanks so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, Do check out the other stuff on our channel and consider subscribing, as there is almost always something new to watch. Bye!